Hi there. I'm Denise Barrett. I'm a licensed realtor and land broker here in North Texas. My office is in Salina, just north of Frisco. We call this channel The Real Deal for a couple of reasons. The first is most obvious. Of course, we talk about all things real estate. The second reason is because these are straightforward conversations designed to help you, the buyer and seller, through a real estate transaction. What you're not going to see is information pertaining to flipping. So if that's what you want, then you'll need to find another channel for that, and there are certainly tons of them. You're also not going to see a lot of advertising and self-promotion. Am I a working realtor? Yes, I am. Would I love to represent you in a transaction? Well, of course. But that's not what this channel is for. Here we want to provide nuggets of information which you will find helpful to get you through your transaction. So, let's get started. Today's topic is for buyers. This is a crucial first step in making sure that there are no surprises as you get to the closing table. We call it Buyer Know Thyself. What do you look like on paper? So, where are we in the buyer's timeline? We're going to assume for this conversation and for most conversations regarding a buyer, for this season you want to close in June. Well, in order to do that, the contract needs to be written in May. Before that, you're looking for your new home in April. Before that, you found your lender in March. We are one step before that. Now we are in February for you to purchase in June. This seems like a long way out, but it's important to do this, and I'll explain a little bit further in just a moment. This is where we get to the Know Thyself scenario. There are two pieces of information I'd like you to know before the end of February. The first is what money is being applied to the transaction. What money do you have? The second piece is what do you look like on a credit report? So let's talk about money for a second. There are a lot of you who are out there saying, and some of you that I know very well are out there saying, I make tons of money. There's no reason why I can't get a loan. But here's the thing. What's more important than the money you make is the money you keep. So let's talk about what the lender is going to be looking at as far as income. If you're a salaried employee, it's easy enough to calculate your monthly average by taking your yearly salary and dividing it by 12. If you're a 1099 employee, the lender is going to give you a better idea on how to calculate what your monthly salary is going to be. Now, there's your salary, and that's awesome. But where is that money going? This is an important calculation for you to know because the lender is going to want to know what your income to debt ratio is. How much money that you make is going to crucial bills and how much of it is expendable. So what bills do you use to calculate the income to debt ratio? Well, here's a general parameter for you. Your mortgage or rent, any car payments that you might have, the minimum payment on all of your credit cards, and don't fool yourself, all of the credit cards, any personal loans that you may have, any student loans that you may have, and any child support or alimony payments that you're paying every month. Now, you don't have to worry about bills like your electric bill, your insurance, your car insurance, things like that. Those don't involve creditors, they're simply bills. So now what I want you to do is add up all of those bills. So you've added up the total of all of those bills. Now I want you to take that total, divide it by your monthly income, and that percentage is your income to debt ratio. Your lender is going to want to see somewhere between 35, maybe up to 45%, depending on the loan product that you're working with. If that total percentage falls higher than that, you've got a little bit of work to do, but that's okay. You've got time to do it. We'll talk about that in another segment. Now let's talk about other money. And I'm talking now about the money that's going to be applied to the purchase. Are there any gift funds that are going to be applied? This is, let's say you have a rich uncle who wants to give you some money to buy your house. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. I wonder if he'll adopt me. No? Okay, fine. Above that, what have you saved for your down payment? Now, there are a lot of loan programs out there. Some of them require no down payment. Some of them require 3%. Some require 20%. It all depends on the loan program that you are going to be using. And that's a good conversation to have with your lender. They want to know how much money you have to put on the house. Makes perfect sense. Now, as with buying a car, the more money you put down, the lower your monthly payment is going to be. That's easy math. But know that going into it. And if you feel like that number needs to be higher, get working on it. You've probably heard the adage that it's important that you pay yourself first every month. And it's true. People have a way of spending whatever money is at their disposal. If you make $10 a week, you're going to spend $10 a week. If you make $20 a week, you're going to spend $20 a week. So at the first of every month, when you get your paycheck, put an allotted sum of money into savings, then pay your bills, then go out to dinner. Okay, so now we know how much money we have to apply to this purchase. Fantastic. Now here's where we get to part 2 of this scenario. I would like you to pull all 3 of your credit reports now. There are 3 credit reporting bureaus here in the United States: TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Now, here's what's funny about these 3. They don't talk to each other. They're completely separate entities. And lenders don't have to report your loan to all 3 of them. They may report it to one, and you have no way of knowing who has what information. Now, it's not hard to pull your annual credit report. In fact, you can do it all in one shot at annualcreditreport.com. We'll put the link down below. It will give you PDF versions of your credit report. Now, these can be 4 pages long. These can be 90 pages long. This is a lot of information about you. This is where you get your beverage of choice. You sit out in a comfortable chair and you start reading through this information. The takeaway here is the information on all 3 reports correct? That's it. Is it correct? Does it have your correct name, address, employer? Does it correctly identify the status of all of your credit cards? Does it accurately reflect which accounts are open, which accounts are closed? Now, when we're talking about the names on the accounts, I want you to look at that very closely. Let's say your name is Mary T. Nelson, and the credit cards in your wallet all say Mary T. Nelson. But you see a couple of lines of credit, department store cards or whatnot, that are under the name of Mary Nelson. And you don't remember having those accounts. That may be a big red flag that you need to have those accounts looked into. You may have had an account open in your name by an unauthorized party. And if so, that is something that needs to be cleared up by the credit bureaus. So let me tell you why it's important to do this step now. This is a real scenario. Bob and his wife decided it was time to buy a house. So they got pre-qualified based on their annual income. All that was great. They offered an aggressive contract to the seller because they live in an aggressive market. And what I mean by that is it had a quick close, 21 days instead of 30. And the financing addendum said that they would have lender approval within 14 days. Now the lender says that's within our process, that's fine. So they submitted the contract, it was accepted. They turned the contract into the title company, they gave it to the lender. He said, great, I'll get started. A couple of days pass, and then the lender calls Bob and says, I need a bit of information from you. Can you tell me the story behind this $15,000 American Express bill in default? Well, Bob says, I don't have an American Express account. Someone had opened an account in Bob's name, charged up $15,000, and let it go in default. Bob didn't know anything about this. So the time that it takes to clear something up like that was more than what the contract allowed. Bob and his wife lost the contract. They were not able to buy this house because they didn't do the homework up front. Your lender may tell you, don't worry about pulling your credit report, we're going to do it anyway. And that's true. But every responsible buyer needs to be one step ahead, just one step ahead, to make sure that nothing trips them up later. We've had 2 easy lessons today. Honestly, they can be accomplished in just a couple of days. Know how much money you have. Know how much money you can spend on buying this new house, and know what's on your credit report. I know you're going to be tempted to focus on your credit score. I don't want you to do that right now. We'll talk about that in another segment. Right now, all I want you to know is the information correct? So there you go. I hope you found this information helpful as the first step to get you started. Thanks so much for visiting us here on The Real Deal. We'll drop new information every Tuesday. If you'd like a heads up, you can visit our sister Facebook page, also called The Real Deal, and we'll give you that information below. I'll talk to you soon. You guys have a great day.